Let's go on to our next common item that we would be doing on a daily basis as the accounting team, as the finance team, and that's entering AP invoices. So for us, we're not, some things we do POs, but a lot of things we don't do POs for. So we're just going to go in and we do payables transaction entry. And when we go and enter information up, again, to hit back on that trade show thing, I've got information about this and I want to capture that. So again, I've got the invoice from the supplier. I could go and attach that invoice and see that, but maybe there's specific information I want to communicate. Maybe it's internally, or I want to make a record of that. And again, I could have a Word document or something that I could go and attach there if I wanted to do that. You can have these attachments that you do that again can have a date that they're no longer available, so you can put that have that library function. But sometimes I just want to have some more information in here, and all I can really put in here is who I bought it from and document number and the amount. And then I can go to distributions. Now in distributions, I have that ability to kind of put some additional information in here. And I was putting this, okay, for this one, it was for 2 trade shows, 4 trade shows, 3 trade shows, etc. And there's my distributions. So it would be nice to be able to have something a little bit more explanatory without having to do a bunch of attachments there. But yeah, it's and I can only enter again if I wanted, and we do that. We have POs where we do a purchase order for an inventory item or a purchase order for fixed assets. But our payables transactions we use for when we don't have, for example, a purchase order. It's not for inventory. So how would I kind of work that through in Business Central?
Yep, I totally have something for you in this regards. So let me share my screen again. And we could, of course, we could do it in a journal as well. Like that's the thing that I just demoed before. But since when we get purchase invoices, we would have an invoice which is like from the structure pretty much the same thing as you get like a proper invoice. So when you create a new purchase invoice, when you get it, you usually have like header information, then you have a couple of lines, which I think is what you do in distributions. And then there is like bottom information where like you have the totals and who to pay it to and all that kind of stuff. So when we enter a new invoice, of course, I can go and start typing my vendor name, my vendor number, or I can just browse in here. So I'm selecting my Fabricam vendor, which is like my favorite demo vendor. I can enter like the invoice number. It must be unique per vendor, so this prevents me from having duplicate entries there. Again, here is the show more. If I want to enter more information, I could totally do that. Usually I don't need that. That's why I usually work with this kind of shortened view here. And now let's go over to our what you would call distribution, what we would call the line items. So in the line, you can see I have different types. I can not only record GLs, so let me just record, staying with the example of a trade show. Let's say I have travel expenses that I need to enter against this. I can get like in quantity and then have like $300. And I maybe want to put in, this is the hotel for management. So it's like $600 for that. Let's say on the same invoice, I don't know what this company is, but let's say on the same invoice, this company would charge me for a table that I want to buy for this trade show. So I can also select item, and now I can get a desk because I need a desk on my trade show, right? So I can do and select, I want to order one desk, and since it's an item, it already has like populated pricing. This comes all with the inventory module. I can put that right here on the invoice. Let's say there is a freight associated to that, so I can go and again do a GL account and associate a freight. And again, this is like $55. And now let's go really crazy. Let's say for this trade show, we also need a car. So I set up a fixed asset in my system because I want to reuse it, but I buy it right now. So I want to make sure that it's all associated to this thing. So I want to buy a blue Ford Mustang. So what I do is I can select my fixed assets here, and I can say I'm buying a Ford Mustang from here, $60,000. I don't even know if this is real, but you get the idea. So I can enter like all kind of different things on my invoice, and I can also provide the header description. I think that's what you would have on your site, like on the not distribution one. Um,
Yeah, for sure. And then also you have the ability to do your comments on those lines as well,
Correct.
those
Like
line items.
I can have the line items with the comments. I can do
Hmm.
attachments here. Um, I can leave comments. I can have incoming documents. There's tons of things where I can still attach all the pieces. But I think the main thing that kind of struggled me a little bit when I saw you was that you couldn't see all this all in one view. You had to go to the first one, then you had to go to distribution to find all the pieces, right? So that's
Definitely.
all on the
And
invoice
you
level.
could do everything on one form. I wouldn't be able to do a combination of fixed assets, inventory items, and GL accounts all on the same thing. So awesome, awesome. That's super valuable, super useful for sure.
Yeah, and if I would attempt to post this guy, since we have to preview posting, I can totally do that. So it's not really posting right now, but it would already tell me, even though I'm not selecting a GL account, it would tell me which GL accounts would be affected if I post this invoice. So if I would go down here, I would not only see, of course, my two GL accounts that I selected, but I would also see um, like the purchase account, I would see my travel, I see my expenses, I see the taxes and everything that's related to that. All the subledgers and everything will be translated. So you can double check before you post if the GL account, which will be used when you post the invoice, is correct. So you still have full control over the entire thing, even though you're not using the GLs directly on the line levels.
Great. Thanks, Rico.